Post 1. Am I the jerk for using family funds to prepare for a new baby? I am a female in my late 30s. People always tell me I look 10 years younger because I take care of myself. That matters because I want to do motherhood right this time, not like when I was 19 and everything was duct tape and drive through dinners. I have two kids with my ex, Lily, who is 16, and Max, who is 13. They live mostly with their father, Caleb, because for a while I was working nights and it made sense. I am married now to Derek. He is stable, calm, and already has a son, Aiden, who is 14. Our home is peaceful and we have routines. I finally have the life that sets a child up to thrive. Why would I not want to give that life to a baby who will be loved by everyone? Last month, I had a late period, felt dizzy, and got a faint positive on a cheap test. I know how bodies work. A line is a line. I showed Derek and he cried and said, "Finally, a child gets me at my best." I immediately saw the whole plan: a gentle nursery, a stroller that does not rattle like a shopping cart, hypoallergenic bottles, the good car seat that swivels so you do not wrench your back. I said out loud, "This time I am doing it right." Money. People love to make money the point when it is actually about commitment. I manage the kids' education accounts because some relatives preferred to give through me, and I have always put in my own contributions too. There was $18,000 between Lily's and Max's funds. I moved that money into our household account and started purchasing the essentials. Before anyone clutches pearls, scholarships exist. Caleb's parents are loaded and always say education is their lane. The kids will be fine. Meanwhile, a baby needs basics on day one. I am not going to hand down a sticky bouncer from a neighbor and pretend that is care. I did a small registry to track what I still needed. I posted a picture of me, Derek, and Aiden at the park with the caption family of 3 and 10 blue hearts because it matched the sky. People acted like I had erased my other kids. Calm down. You cannot tag teenagers in everything. They were at their father's that weekend. It was a cute photo about a cute day. Not everything is an indictment. Caleb called in his lawyer voice and asked if I had touched the education funds. I said yes, temporarily, in principle, because a healthy home for their sibling is a long-term good. He said those funds are for Lily and Max only. I said they have his family and 2 different sets of grandparents. I am not taking them to the poorhouse. He accused me of selfishness and told me to return the money by Friday. I said I would work it out and hung up because I am not going to be screamed at for building something beautiful. Lily confronted me in person. I was assembling the crib and she stood there with her arms crossed like a judge. She said, "Mom, why are you using my college money for a baby that does not even exist yet?" I said, "Number 1, your body does not make you a judge. Number 2, this baby does exist. I am late and nauseous. We will all be a family and you will love having a little sister or brother to mentor." She said she did not consent to mentoring and that scholarships are not guaranteed. I said, "Then apply yourself. You are bright, but you cannot coast forever on vibes and resentment." While we were talking, she glanced at the contract on the counter. "I printed a house rules agreement so we can have peace in my home. Nothing scary, no phones at dinner, chores on a simple chart, respectful language, and no screaming at me in front of Derek or Aiden. Reasonable standards." I put in one clause about babysitting because bonding takes time and work. One night a week for 2 hours when the baby is here so I can shower and Derek can do drop off for Aiden's soccer. Lily called it free labor. I called it family. She refused to sign and stormed off. I said, "If you want to be in my home, you sign." She flipped me off. My mother would have grounded me into a new century for that. Max is quiet like me. He texted a thumbs up when I sent a photo of the cloud wallpaper. He is into science. I told him this is like a lab where love is the experiment. He sent me a beaker emoji and then nothing, which I choose to read as supportive. Returns are not a problem if you do not panic. Stores have windows. I bought fast, but not stupid. The stroller and car seat were on sale and will never be cheaper. I put a deposit on a lactation consultant because breastfeeding is hard when you're anxious, and I will not be anxious this time. People forget that stress makes babies colicky. Planning lowers stress. Planning is love. My mother, Ruth, did the sigh where you hear 3 generations behind it. She asked my age. I said late 30s because it is a feeling as much as a number. She asked if I had seen a doctor. I said I have an appointment next month, but you do not need a lab to tell you when premenstrual symptoms are actually early pregnancy. She looked at me in a way I did not appreciate and changed the subject to soup. Everyone likes to bring soup when they think you are delusional. I said, no thank you. We have DoorDash. Caleb's family group chat lit up with phrases like restricted use and earmarked funds. People love to pretend their gifts come with handcuffs. Those checks were given over years with love. Love is not a contract. Also, I contributed too. No one mentions that. Derek told me to turn my phone off and focus on the room we are building. He is right. The baby will see calm and color, not comments. I know how this looks to strangers. They see numbers and assume I am stealing. I see a child who deserves to enter a world that is not chaotic hand-me-downs. Lily will be fine. Max will be fine. Caleb's parents can do one less cruise and put a few more zeros on a check if they are so worried. In 10 years, they will say, wow, you held the line and gave our grandchild a soft landing. People always resist the person who changes a system. Then they like the result and rewrite history. So, am I the jerk for using $18,000 from the education funds I manage, funds I also added to create a real home for a baby who will bring us all together? Am I the jerk for asking my teen to apologize for disrespect and sign a house rules contract if she wants to be in my home without draining all my energy? Or is everyone piling on me because it is easier to scream about money than admit they do not want to see me do it right? Comment 1. You rated your kids' college funds for a hypothetical baby and posted family of 3 photos without them. That is not planning. That is neglect with receipts. Return the money now and see a doctor before building a fantasy nursery. Comment 2. If you contributed to the funds too, I can see why you feel entitled to manage at a tough moment. Families share resources, set a repayment plan, and keep the gear for now. Your ex sounds controlling. Update 1. Some people were confused about my timeline and whether I stole from locked accounts. The money was not in some vault. It was in 2 education funds that I manage because certain relatives preferred to route their giving through me over the years. I also contributed to those funds. People keep skipping that part. I moved $18,000 into our household account because a baby needs basics on day 1. That is called triage. The return window panic you all keep pushing is dramatic. I have spreadsheets. I know exactly which items have a 30-day return, which have 60, and which are final sale. I made sure the big pieces could be returned if needed. I am not a cartoon villain buying a yacht. I bought a safe car seat. I bought a crib that does not wobble. I put a deposit on a night nurse for the first 2 weeks so I do not spiral like I did at 19. That is an investment in stability for all my children, including Lily and Max, who will benefit from a rested mother who is not snapping because the baby screamed for 4 hours. Caleb's lawyer sent a letter that used words like restricted, misuse, fiduciary. The tone was theatrical. He included scans of old holiday cards where an aunt scribbled, "for college," under her signature. This is what I mean about people turning love into a contract after the fact. Gifts given over years do not come with handcuffs. If scholarships exist, and if their father's side is wealthy, then college will be funded. It does not need to be hoarded in an account right now while I am building a healthy home for a new member of this family. I told Caleb I would restore the money on my timeline. He tried to dictate Friday. I said no. He said a judge would love to hear that. There it is. He wants court, not cooperation. Meanwhile, Lily is telling people she cannot apply to her dream school because I took her funds and bought a stroller. I sent her a link to scholarships. She left me on read and posted a story with a broken heart emoji and the caption, "My scholarship. We need less performance and more grit." I booked the wallpaper install for the cloud mural. Derek handled moving the dresser because Aiden had soccer. The house finally feels like it matches my vision. I am not hiding purchases. I filmed a short reel for my friends about nesting after 40 because, yes, I am 40-something in numbers, late 30s in energy, and people always ask me how I keep such a youthful attitude. The reel did well. I think people are tired of gloomy parenting. They want to see someone build with intent. Ruth came by with grocery bags and that expression that says she already wrote the ending. She asked if I had seen a doctor. I told her my appointment is next month. She said, with that dry little tone, that a line can be an EVAP line and that women in their 40s can have cycles that trick them. I said my body and I are in constant conversation. I am late. I am queasy. My skin smells like metal. You cannot fake that. She said, sometimes the body plays tricks. I said, sometimes daughters grow up and make different choices, and took the salad out of the bag so she would have a task. Donor relatives are doing group messages now. An aunt wrote that her check was given with the understanding it was for Lily's tuition only. She attached a photo of the note she tucked into the card when Lily was 10. Grandparents chimed in about intention. Caleb's mother wrote that they have paid for camp and tutors and will not be shamed into carrying me now. No one is asking them to carry me. They are choosing loudness because it is easier than admitting they do not want to see me raise a baby in peace. I responded once. I will repay. Please be patient. That is all anyone honest can say at this point. Max texted me a picture of a science fair flyer. I told him I would be there and that the baby's mobile will have planets so he can teach the little one the order from the sun. He sent a dot. He is a minimalist communicator. People in these comments keep assigning feelings to him. He is fine. He likes calm. Our house is calm. Lily refuses to sign the house rules contract, which is just basic respect and a chore chart. She says I added a clause about babysitting to trap her. No. I added one evening a week for 2 hours so she bonds with her sibling and learns that family is not a spectator sport. She said she is not my free childcare. I said no one is free. I will put a stipend on the fridge if that makes her feel valued. She said she is not a nanny. I said she is a sister. She left. We cannot build a culture in my home if the teens refuse to participate. The return window on the stroller closes in 2 weeks. People keep telling me to return everything and sit in a bare room until a lab says I am permitted to hope. That is not how you lower stress. Planning lowers stress. I sleep better knowing there is a bassinet and a packet of newborn onesies in a drawer. When you tend to the environment, the body follows. My friend who teaches yoga says that all the time. I am not apologizing for creating a healthy environment. Caleb's attorney followed his letter with a notice of intent to seek account oversight. That is bullying. If he channels this energy into helping Lily research financial aid instead of threatening me, we would all be calmer. He tries to make me the villain for moving money in an emergency. He did not mind when I dipped into my own savings to pay for braces in camp. I moved money for a family need now, and suddenly I am a thief. Derek says to let people tire themselves out. He says quietly that he did not have a mother who fussed over details and that he loves seeing me paint a room and fold blankets like they matter. That is the point. The baby will have a mother who notices. No child should grow up thinking they are a burden who gets leftovers. I keep getting DMs that say, see a doctor. I will. I already booked the appointment. I am listening to my body too. But do not tell me to wait in a bare room to prove to strangers I am rational. Rational is building the room while you can still get the sale price and the return window. Rational is moving money within a family ecosystem that has other sources of support so that the weakest member is ready on day one. To the relatives with memos and old cards, I hear you. I will make the balances whole. I am not refusing. I am asking for patience while I stabilize the base of this house and keep my cortisol low. Money is a tool. I used it for a family need. If you cannot see that, it is because you prefer the story where I am unreliable over the story where I grew into someone who plans. Updated question. Am I wrong to keep the nursery gear and repay on my timeline while certain donor relatives waive old notes and threaten court, when my kids have other family resources and scholarships available? Or is this just easier to frame as theft than to admit I am finally doing motherhood right and people do not like the mirror it holds? Comment 1. You still used funds explicitly given for your kids' education and are now refusing to restore them promptly. That is not triage. That is misuse. Return the money now, pause the shopping, and see a doctor. Your kids' futures are not contingency funds. Comment 2. If you also contributed, I get why you feel some rights here. Set a written repayment plan with dates, keep the big items boxed a bit longer, and block the noise. Caleb running to lawyers escalated this. You are not a monster for wanting a better start. Update 2. The Wider family decided that group text was not enough and formed what my aunt literally named the College Covenant Committee. She sent a group email with scans of every holiday card and birthday check memo from the last decade. Half of them have "for college only" scrawled in cursive next to snowmen. She added a spreadsheet of who gave what and a little note that read, "This is not about control. This is about intention." The tone was courtroom cosplay. I replied once. I will restore the balances. She followed with, by what date? That is not a conversation. That is a trap. Caleb then forwarded a letter from his lawyer saying they would move to freeze the accounts and request court oversight if I did not return the funds within 10 business days. Lily screenshotted the deadline and posted a story with a broken heart emoji. I sent her a link to 2 local scholarship workshops and a message that said, "Worry is a choice. Action is also a choice." She left me on red. Returns. Everyone keeps acting like I bolted the windows shut. The car seat is returnable for 30 days if the box stays sealed. The stroller has a 60-day window. The wallpaper install was non-refundable because labor is labor. I am not trying to fleece anyone. I am balancing timelines under stress while I create a peaceful environment. That is leadership. People love to ignore the invisible work when they can point at a number. I hosted a small rainbow nursery reveal for my friends. It was sweet. Neutral palette, small rainbow over the crib to welcome hope after a hard decade, 3 cupcakes, candles that smell like laundry. I filmed a 2-minute reel about nesting in your 40s with joy, not panic. I posted it with the caption, "40 is the new 30 when you plan." The reel did numbers. Comments from women who said they felt seen for the first time. Then Lily commented, "That was my scholarship." My heart sank, not because she is wrong on paper, but because she chose spectacle over a phone call. I deleted the comment. She reposted it as a screenshot and tagged me. Caleb texted, "You brought this on yourself," as if public shaming is co-parenting. The day after the reveal, I had my blood drawn at the OB's office for labs my doctor had already ordered. The nurse was kind. She said positive home tests can be faint for lots of reasons. She said stress can make cycles weird. She told me to drink water and rest. I told her I am good at both. 2 days later, the nurse called with results. Serum HCG negative, progesterone low. The doctor wanted to see me to discuss perimenopause versus early menopause based on my age and symptoms. I felt the heat rise in my face. I said the lab must be wrong because my body feels like early pregnancy. She said tests are not moral judgments, they are information. She could fit me in Friday. I said I am very busy with the return schedule and asked for next week. She said sooner is better. I said I will see what I can move. I told Derek the lab probably made an error. He said okay in a voice that tried to be supportive and neutral at the same time. He offered to drive me Friday. I said I am not letting a lab and a white coat dictate my timeline. If I am pregnant, the gear is ready. If I am not, the gear can stay boxed for a foster baby or be sold carefully so I do not take a bath on price. Hope is not a disorder. Aunt Covenant emailed again to say she had scheduled a call with a mediator if I preferred compromise to court. She included a photo of Lily at 10 holding a check from Grandma. The memo line reads, "First class in freshman year." The performance. As if I took a paper from a child's hand and ripped it up. I moved money in a family system that has other resources so I could stabilize a home. I did not light college brochures on fire. Caleb escalated. His lawyer filed an emergency motion to freeze the kids' accounts and asked for a temporary financial guardian for them. He sent me a copy like a trophy. He added that he will also ask the judge to bar me from posting about the nursery until the pregnancy is medically confirmed. That is censorship disguised as concern. I am allowed to film my life. I did not post bank statements. I posted paint. Ruth came over with tea and the look again. She asked if I would go to the doctor. I said yes on my schedule. She asked me what I will do if the doctor says this is perimenopause. I said perimenopause is a word used to make women feel like their bodies are closing stores. I feel like the lights are on and the aisles are stocked. She said, "A closed sign is still a sign," and squeezed my hand. I pulled away. I am not a store. I am a person who knows how to make a room ready. A neighbor messaged me privately and said the reveal was lovely, but maybe pausing reels would make court calmer. I blocked her. I am not crowdsourcing my body. The resale market is what it is. I listed the duplicate monitor set and a spare bouncer, both unopened because I can be practical without becoming a martyr. A woman offered half my list price and said, "Seen your reel, maybe you can afford to be generous." I closed the app. People love generosity when it comes from women they decided they do not like. Max sent a photo of his science fair board. He had written centripetal force in bubble letters. I told him we would test mobiles with planets and spin. He sent a thumbs up and a single word. Okay, stability. He wants kindness without debate. I can give that while other people play courtroom. The day before the doctor's appointment, I woke up nauseous. I took another test at home. The line was nothing, then something if you squinted under the bathroom light. I took a photo and held my breath. Derek said lines are lines. I said I told you. I texted Ruth, she replied with a dot, and let the doctor run the test. The lab the next morning said negative again. The doctor used the word perimenopause and suggested options for symptom management. She asked about grief. I said grief is a choice when you can build. She asked if I had support. I said yes, from people who do not weaponize gifts. She said therapy could help. I said I am being sued by a committee that thinks cursive is law. She gave me a card anyway. I walked to my car, sat with my forehead on the steering wheel, and felt two things at once: the empty shape of what I wanted and the steady shape of the room I already built. I am not returning it to score points with people who love notes on memo lines more than actual children. If the court orders a plan, I will follow a plan. Plans are not defeat. Plans are how you prove you are serious. Lily texted, "Did you get my money back?" I typed, "It is not your money alone," then deleted it and wrote, "I will make it right." She replied with the screenshot of my reel and the caption, "You looked very happy." I started to type a paragraph about responsibility and optics and then stopped. I sent her a calendar invite to tour her dream school during their open day. She did not accept. That can be step 2. Caleb's lawyer confirmed the hearing date. I have a binder with return receipts, itemized lists, and a written statement that says I will restore the accounts with interest according to my income reality, not their fantasy. I am not running. I am not confessing to theft. I am saying out loud that I acted in good faith to build a stable home for a child, and I will put the balances back while keeping the environment we built. Two truths can exist in the same room. Comment 1, the labs are negative. Your doctor raised perimenopause. You hosted a reveal, deleted your daughter's comment, and are still refusing to promptly repay funds explicitly labeled for college. This is not leadership. It is denial with invoices. Comment 2, I hear the grief between the lines. Set a court-approved repayment plan, return what you can, box the rest, and pause the reels. Hold space for the possibility that family grew in a different direction than you hoped. Update 3. The hearing was emergency because Caleb's side likes to perform urgency. I showed up in a blazer that reads competent and brought a binder with tabs. Purchases, returns, donor notes, account history plan. The judge was one of those quiet ones who does not blink much. Caleb's lawyer opened with phrases like fiduciary breach and restricted purpose. He held up Christmas cards with cursive memo lines like they were treaties. Aunt Covenant sat behind him, nodding hard enough to sprain her neck. My lawyer said 2 things. 1, the accounts are within the family, no outside theft, and I have always contributed to them as well. 2, there is a plan to restore balances while allowing me to keep essential items in anticipation of a child or fostering. The judge asked for numbers, not poetry. Caleb's lawyer had numbers: 18,000 transferred out over 3 weeks, 5,000 in new gear, 3,000 non-refundable installs, the rest scattered across deposits and services like night nurse and lactation consultant. Then he clicked to the exhibit with my reel and Lily's comment screenshot. A chorus behind me made the sound people make when gossip becomes evidence. I tried to explain context. That gear reduces stress, which benefits my older kids too because a regulated mother is not snapping. The judge did not raise her voice. She just said, "Miss Sun redacted, I am not here to litigate your interior. I am here about children's funds." Then she asked me 2 questions. Are the lab results negative? Yes. Did you use money earmarked in writing by third parties for college? I started to say gifts do not come with handcuffs. My lawyer touched my sleeve. I said yes. Order time. The judge appointed a financial guardian ad litem for the kids' accounts, which is a mouthful that means a neutral is now the adult in the room. I have to provide a full accounting of the withdrawals and purchases within 30 days. I must liquidate non-essentials within 60 days and deposit proceeds to the accounts. Essentials are defined as items that cannot be reasonably returned or resold at fair value without significant loss, and that would be necessary if I were to foster within 6 months. Translation: yes to keeping a car seat until the return window ends. No to hoarding 3 sets of swaddles in different neutrals because aesthetics. The order includes repayment with interest at a modest rate into custodial accounts with the guardian as co-trustee. Monthly transfers, no skipping. Miss a payment and it escalates. There is a social media clause. I am barred from posting about the kids' accounts, the donors, or the nursery purchases until the repayment plan is complete. I may not post images of Lily or Max without the other parent's consent. I may post my home if it does not invite contributions or misrepresent the status of the accounts. The judge looked at me when she read that and added, delete the reel with the comment thread within 48 hours. I wanted to say that censorship wrapped in concern is still censorship. I said, understood. Aunt Covenant cried a single performative tear when the guardian was appointed. Caleb's lawyer tried to add a penalty about contempt if I failed to appear with the nursery gear list by noon tomorrow. The judge did not indulge him. She has 30 days, she said. This is not a TV show. Outside, Derek went quiet in the way men go quiet when they realize there is less air in a room than they thought. He held my bag, asked what I needed, and did not offer a plan. On the ride home, he said, we will make the transfers, and stared out the window. His son Aiden had practice. He texted that he would be late. I said, okay, freedom is a curve that bends when courts are in the room. The marketplace humiliation machine spun up fast. I listed the duplicate monitor set, the spare bouncer, the unopened bottle set, the extra carrier, the blanket ladder, and 3 shelves of neutral decor. Neighbors recognized items from my reveal and sent me small smirks in the form of offers that were 20% below fair. Saw your video, take it or leave it. Reads different when you're holding a receipt the court now cares about. I took the offers. Money back is more important than pride if a guardian will be reading your bank statements. I wrote the first transfer that night. The act of clicking submit felt like someone draining a pool I had just filled. The guardian emailed a receipt acknowledgement within minutes with a polite line about cooperation. She asked for my full list of gear and return dates by Friday. She used thank you twice and did not use the word misappropriation. I liked her immediately. There is a kind of person who can say hard things without making you feel like a headline. Ruth came over with deli containers and no lecture. That was worse somehow. She said, the order gives you a path. I said, the order humiliates me. She said, paper is a bridge. I said, paper is handcuffs when everyone else gets to be messy. She looked around the room that used to be a nursery and is now stacks and shipping labels. You are not everyone else, she said. You are a mother with obligations. The word mother hit me in a soft spot I did not know was there. I said I have been a mother since 19, even when people told me I was playing house. She said, then act like the oldest mother in the room now. I wanted to slam a drawer. I opened it quietly and sorted receipts instead. Lily sent a 3-word text. Delete the reel. I did. Not because she ordered me to, but because the judge did, and I am trying to be a person who keeps orders. I wrote back. Tour day is Saturday. I will pick you up. She replied, Dad is taking me. I typed, I can also take you, then deleted it. The plan says fewer words, more transfers. Max sent a photo of his science board with new labels. He is testing spin with 2 mobiles and a fan. I told him to tape the strings the same length. He wrote, already did. Stability, neutral facts, I can do that. I boxed what I could not list yet and scheduled the wallpaper removal. The installer charged again because labor is labor. I paid it. It hurt. Hurt is not the same as harm. Harm would be leaving balances low and pretending good intentions write checks. Derek slept on the couch because he fell asleep holding Aiden's jersey, waiting for it to dry. I filmed nothing. The house looked like an after photo of a storm. For the first time since the faint line, I let the word no land without spinning it into maybe. I do not like that word. It sits heavy in my stomach. But it did not kill me. I know the comments will call this justice. They will call me a thief who got caught. They will pretend memo lines are laws. What I know is that a judge drew a map that I can walk without begging donors for grace. I can hate the map and still walk it. That is not defeat. It is discipline. It is also the only way back to being someone Lily and Max can count on without reading my captions first. Comment 1. The court appointed a guardian for your kids' accounts, ordered liquidation, repayment with interest, and a social media clause. That is not performance. It is accountability. Sell the gear, follow the plan, and stop darvoing donors who wrote for college. Comment 2. You tried to justify using restricted funds with vibes and reels. The judge cut through that. Do the transfers, return what you can, and stop posting about the nursery. Your kids needed a parent with a calculator, not a camera. Update 4. The order has a way of expanding to fill the room. Every week there is a new box to tape, a new transfer to schedule, a new email from the Guardian with a gentle reminder that reads like a thermometer stuck under my tongue. I am following it. Purchases documented, returns processed, resale receipts uploaded with item numbers and buyer initials. My phone gallery is half screenshots for the Guardian and half photos I cannot post because of the clause. People call that a muzzle. The Guardian calls it boundaries. Awards night was the first time I tried to step out of the spreadsheet and be a mother in public again. Lily was getting a science honor, and I thought, great, I will show up and clap and we will start a new era. I wore a blouse that photographs well and brought my small camera with a quiet click. I asked the usher where parents could stand for photos. He pointed to a taped line on the side aisle. I stood there and filmed her row as they called names. It was not a production. It was a mother with a camera. Staff approached before Lily's name. A woman in a school polo said, "Please put the camera away." I said, "Everyone is filming." She said, "We have received a request to limit filming for one student in your party." The phrase sat in the air like a wet towel. I put the camera down because I am not going to make a spectacle in front of a trophy table. When Lily's name was called, I clapped, she accepted her certificate, and I felt like someone had installed a glass wall between us. Caleb stood on the other side and took a perfectly acceptable phone photo. Later, he uploaded it with a caption about hard work and village. I sent Lily a private text with 5-star emojis. She replied with a green check. That was the whole conversation. Supervised reunification is what it sounds like. A small room, a neutral person with a clipboard, and a timer. I booked the first 2 slots and showed up 10 minutes early with board games and a snack bag that matched Lily's dietary preferences from 3 years ago. The supervisor asked me to put the food away because of policy. Lily arrived, sat on the edge of the chair, and looked past me at the whiteboard like she was waiting for her name to be erased. I said, "I am proud of you." She said, "Thanks." I said, "I deleted the reel." She said, "I know." I said, "It hurt to take the room apart." She said, "It hurt to see it." I asked if she would like to set a small goal. She said, "Restore the accounts." I said, "I am." After 10 minutes, she stood up and said she was done for today. The supervisor logged the time. I left feeling like I had paid for an hour and received a receipt that said effort with no change. The second visit was shorter. She sat for 7 minutes and left when I asked her to please stop calling it her scholarship like I had robbed a safe. The supervisor wrote, "Emotions high. Parent asked child to change language. On paper, I look like a person who cannot stop managing. Maybe that is fair. I do not know another way to keep a bridge from wobbling. Marketplace has become my second job. People recognize items from the reveal and offer me less than half of fair value with a comment about timing. Saw your rainbow theme. 50 or pass. I take the pass if it is insulting, but most days I take the 50 because the Guardian's schedule does not care about dignity. The wallpaper removal cost me twice. First when I paid to put it up, second when I paid to take it down. The installer was kind and did not make conversation. She said, "Cloud paste is stubborn." I said, "So am I." She laughed like she thought I was joking. Money. I am making the transfers. The Guardian thanked me for staying on schedule and noted that interest accrues less when I pay early. The first time she said that I felt my jaw clench, then realized she was not judging. She was telling me how to save 3 months of small pain by moving faster now. I moved faster. Work. My hours got cut because apparently I looked distracted in 2 client meetings, and a man named Byron enjoys pointing out that I am sorting personal priorities. I picked up a second shift at a boutique in the evenings. It is minor money, but it is money I can point at when people say, "Restore the balances." I fold onesies for strangers and think about the room that is now a stack of shipping labels. Derek added overtime at his warehouse. Ruth comes by to sit with Aiden most nights because he is 14 and decent, but still a teen in a house that feels like a spreadsheet. She does not lecture. She knits and sets timers and calls it a day. Sometimes she looks at me in a way that is softer than her earlier size. I am not sure if that is pity or respect. It could be both. Health, the doctor was not wrong. I am in perimenopause. She gave me a plan I can follow that makes the ground stop tilting at random. I take the vitamins. I walk in the morning. I sleep better when I do not drink caffeine after noon. I have a card for a counselor I have not called because the idea of crying in a room on purpose feels expensive in every currency. I tell myself that the plan I am following is therapy with receipts. The body responds to proof. I tried to take one small step toward normal by planning a movie night with Max. The clause does not stop me from being with my son. We watched a space documentary, and he explained something with a string and a paperclip to represent gravity. I put my phone face down and did not think about transfers for 60 minutes. He paused the video to ask if we could make a mobile with planets once the room is empty. I said, once the room is ready for anything, yes. He said, okay. And that was a win that did not need a witness. Derek is quiet. He did not sign up for a court calendar and a house that smells like lemon cleaner and cardboard. He did not complain when I sold the blanket ladder he liked. He trimmed lawn edges at 9 at night because he said the yard is the one thing no one can ask us to itemize. I wanted to say, people will always find a way to count your grass if they decide your joy is a math problem. I did not. I thanked him and handed him a bottle of water, like a scene from a commercial about trying. I know some of you are waiting for a conversion moment where I say I was wrong and roll credits. That is not coming. I can follow an order without believing I deserved a public flogging. I can sell gear without agreeing that a memo line in cursive is law. I can also say out loud that the doctor was right about my body while believing in a future where an infant seat fits into the back seat again, even if that infant does not come from me. Foster is a plan. Aunt Covenant says I should be barred from caring for a houseplant. The Guardian did not say that. She said, one thing at a time. That is the first sentence in weeks that sounded like respect. The balances are climbing back up. Lily's college account has a line in it that shows a deposit with my initials. The Guardian forwarded the ledger and said, good work. Caleb sent no message. Fine. Paper sees me even when people choose not to. I am selling the last of the nursery art tomorrow. It feels like letting air out of a balloon slowly so it does not scream. After that, the room will be a blank with a window and a carpet and the ability to hold whatever comes next that is not a fight over fonts. I am still here. I am still planning. Planning just looks like boxes and bank transfers now. Comment 1. You tried to film awards night after your daughter asked you not to, then turned reunification into a negotiation. You are still darvoing donors and hiding behind words like plan and leadership. Finish the transfers, stop managing people, and show up quietly. Comment 2. It hurts to read, but you are doing the hard parts now. Keep making early payments, keep the phone down at visits, and let the Guardian be the bad guy. You can rebuild trust with boring choices. Final update, 10 months later. 10 months is long enough for a house to forget what color a room used to be. If you walked in today, you would see a bright space with a low bookcase, a plain rug, and a window that finally opens without sticking. No cloud wallpaper, no mobile hooks. A blank that does not announce anything, which is also a kind of announcement. People assume blank means loss. I am calling it capacity. The repayment plan is real and it works when you respect it. The Guardian sends a ledger each month with new lines. Deposit posted, interest credited, balance approaching target. There is a satisfaction in watching numbers rise the way a person measures a child against a doorframe. I paid early more than once, not because I wanted applause, but because the extra month of interest avoided felt like a win I could engineer. The Guardian wrote 2 words last week. Well done. It sat in my chest all afternoon like a warm coin. Lily's account is whole again with interest. That sentence matters because it is not a caption, it is a bank fact. She applied to 2 schools and got into both. I asked if she wanted me at any tours. She said Caleb had it. I did not argue. I sent an email to the Guardian instead to verify that the tuition disbursements will be set to the bursar on time with my contribution logged. Paper has been my double agent. It keeps me honest, and it keeps other people from pretending I did nothing. Lily sent me a 1-line text after her award letter arrived. Saw the deposit. I replied with a heart and a line about pride. She did not respond. That is her right to distance. I am not telling myself a fairy tale. She owes me nothing but the chance to show up when she chooses. Some days she chooses not to, and I still make the transfer. Max is taking a dual credit physics class. He sent a photo of a lab cart with a rubber stopper flying from a tube and a caption that said, "Angle matters." He is a minimalist communicator and a quietly excellent kid. We built the planet mobile we talked about in the room that used to be a nursery. We used fishing line and foam balls and a level to keep orbits from bumping. He adjusted the string over Mars twice and said it felt right now. I did not film it. I did not post it. We ate grilled cheese and watched it turn slowly without wind. People would have liked the video. I liked the quiet. Work complicated and then stabilized. The boutique let me stay through the holidays and into spring. The warehouse offered Derek a permanent night shift. We are not flush, but there is a predictable rhythm to the week that does not swing because my phone pings. Ruth still comes by on Tuesdays to sit with Aiden during practice. Sometimes she brings soup. I pretend not to notice that I am grateful for soup now. She decorated the blank room with a plant on a stool. I said plants can die. She said that is part of the charm and then watered it anyway. I let her. The social media clause ends when the repayment plan is complete. That is months away. I have learned that a house without a camera is not a dead house. It is a place where good things are allowed to be small. I do not care to litigate that lesson with strangers. Caleb still posts the acceptable school photo now and then. I resist the urge to fix his captions. Control is a habit. I am teaching myself to hold other habits instead. Drive the money to the right line. Read the plan. Put the phone down. Health is boring, which is what it should be. Perimenopause sounds like a closing door to people who want drama. In practice, it is a calendar and a thermometer and a walk before the sun gets hot. I take the vitamins, I drink water, I deny caffeine after noon. The doctor was right that a managed body is less mercurial than a defiant one. I kept the counselor's card in a drawer and then took it out. I went twice. I cried in a chair that did not collapse. The therapist said grief and accountability can sit in the same room without fighting. I did not argue with that sentence. People ask about Foster? Quietly, like a test. I am doing the classes. The guardian did not object because the accounts are current and the plan has been clean. Derek is not sure if his energy can stretch. That is a fair sentence. We are not in the business of pretending. If a call comes someday, the blank room can hold a crib or a desk or a stack of library books. This is capacity, not performance. Awards night is a memory I can carry without flinching now. The second supervised visit with Lily was not shorter than the first. It was quiet. I did not try to rename her feelings or negotiate her adjectives. I said, "Tell me what you need to feel safe." She said, "Keep paying and stop posting about me forever." I said, "Yes." The supervisor wrote, "Parent followed the child's lead. It should not require a clipboard to teach me that." Sometimes it does. Aunt Covenant still believes cursive on memo lines is law. She can believe it. The court has its own ink. Caleb is still Caleb. He will always have a lawyer voice. I no longer try to drown it. I answer the email, not the tone. The donors have stopped sending group messages. A few mailed checks again this spring, addressed directly to the custodial accounts with the guardian's name on them. That is how it should have been all along. I added 2 checks of my own with short notes that said, "For Lily's books" and "For Max's lab fees." No emojis, no captions. I am not performing generosity, I am paying a bill. There are people who will never let me out of a sentence I wrote last year. That is their right. There are also people who will quietly side with evidence. The balances rose. The room emptied. The visits happened on schedule. These are facts that do not care about my hope or their anger. Facts are a relief. If you want a big apology, you will not get it here. I am not going to pretend I never believed in the baby I planned for. I did. I still believe families can expand in ways you cannot thumbnail. I also believe that paper beats vibes when a child's future is involved. Those 2 beliefs can live in the same house if you let them. 10 months later, the house holds fewer speeches and more schedules. The plant is still alive. The mobile turns slowly above a plain rug. I am late 40s in years and late 30s in energy on good days. The ledger keeps filling. Lily will leave in the fall with her account intact and her boundaries respected. Max will correct me when I call a planet a star. Derek will fall asleep on the couch after sanding the porch rail. Ruth will label soup with painter's tape. The door to the quiet room will stay open. Closure for me looks like making the transfer, doing the dishes, and letting the blank be a promise instead of a wound. Instead of a wound. Instead of a wound. Instead of a wound.